honestly, we had gone in from just the mindset of how do we tell the story of how this unbelievable piece of property got built into a golf course. And as you probably saw from the film, once we got in, we realized, oh, there's even greater story here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast. Robbie here. Jonathan unable to make this week's episode, but we had a good one. I had a great conversation with Danny Christiansen, the founder of Oak Stump Strategy, co-founder of the Restoration Club. He's got an incredible story, just how he got to do what he's doing now. If you've seen the Landmand film, Anything But Little, we've got the new film coming up. It's called Keep Showing Up. Like, he is one of the guys behind the scenes that's helping to make all this happen. An incredible mind on brand, on sport, on content, on helping to tell a story, which is something obviously that we like a lot. So I think you guys will like this episode. Great to finally chat with Danny. We've got a lot of mutual connections from Jeff Marsh, Dave Basin, and others. So it was nice to spend a few minutes of my time and his time together, just getting to know him a little better. Many thanks, as always, to our friends at Summit Golf Brands, Bedrati, Zero Restriction, Fairway, and Green. They make some great stuff, rocking the Zero Restriction pullover, Bedrati polo here. Very thankful for those folks, for Dan Drollinger and the many people there at Summit, for what they do for us. If you go to any of their websites and use BestBall20, you can get 20% off your order. They got some great stuff. I think they got some sales going on even now, but they have some great stuff going on this fall. And then I've seen some teasers of what they got coming up for the spring. So you'll want to be sure to load up. Also, many thanks to our friends at Western Birch. I've been scattering tees all over the place. I've been doing the speed training with JP Guidry. Been working out with him and stuff. And one of the things, along with my stack workout, is doing speed training where I'm actually hitting a ball. So at the driving range at Fort Jackson Golf Club, there are a number of broken Western Birch tees with best ball on them because swinging hard and trying to increase that swing speed. So many thanks to Western Birch. If you use best ball in the shipping cart, you can get a free gift with your order. But now let's get to our episode with Danny Christiansen of Oak Stump Strategy. Y'all enjoy. All right, joining us today on the Whole Story Podcast, Danny Christiansen. Danny, how we doing today?
Doing all right, can't complain. Just about to hit that fall golf season.
Oh man, it's a good time of the year, isn't it?
Always is.
You're in Charlotte, correct?
Charlotte, North Carolina. Yep.
Yeah, you're an hour up the road. I'm here in Columbia, South Carolina, so not too far. But I'm excited to have you on the podcast just to share more about what you do, and just looking at least as you posted on Instagram, your bio there: storyteller, believer, husband, dad, producer, entrepreneur, and a James Madison alumni. So a lot of things. You're a Renaissance guy, right?
I am, yeah. I've seen a lot of things, been a lot of places, but I've been here in Charlotte for the better part of 14 years now.
Yeah, very nice. Well, I guess as we get into it, we'll kind of get into some of the details of what you're doing. But we ask everybody just to kind of tell us, how did you get involved with golf? Like, when did you first start playing?
Yeah, so the game was introduced to me via my dad. My dad plays a ton of golf, even to this day, plays 6 days a week, give or take. Takes Sunday off. So from an early age, knew the game through him, followed the game. Would say I might be off on this, but probably picked up a club for the first time right around 8 years old or so, and got involved probably by the time I was 10, taking some lessons, and grew up on a very small, unassuming par 3 course in Northern Virginia, just outside of D.C.
Very nice. And that I'm sure carried on. Did you play like in school, high school, college, or anything like that?
Yeah, it's funny. I like to tell people I was good enough to play in high school. To this day, I have no idea who worked the deal. Our high school had the opportunity to practice some part of the week and then play matches on what is now Trump National DC, right on the Potomac River. So
Wow.
arguably one of the top courses in the area. I don't know, like I said, who strung that deal together to let a high school team on, but we did. It was great. But, I was one of those 10 to 12 seed guys. Our top 6 were unbelievable, really, really strong golfers. So it was always fun to get out there and compete with them.
Very nice, very nice. Well, golf is one of those things that opens up doors and introduces us to new people and stuff. Like this conversation itself, and I think we got clued into you and what you were doing through people like Jeff Marsh, the Restoration Club, and then some of the other things we'll talk about, like your documentary with Landman and other things. But let's start with the Restoration Club because that's very fascinating to us. But and especially because we're now friends with Jeff Marsh and stuff. But tell everybody who maybe hasn't listened to our episode with him or anything else that we've kind of shared with what you guys are doing. Tell us the genesis of that, how that started, and we interviewed Dave Basin a while back as well. So yeah,
Yeah, you're already hitting all the high points. So yeah, I luckily was able to surround myself with people like Dave Bazin, gosh, over a decade ago now, give or take, and as most people do, followed Jeff Marsh and his amazing creative and photography of the game via Instagram or just online, and had the opportunity to get connected with him. Funny enough, as he was in his RV, moving his family across the country during COVID. And I think at one point he posted online, "Hey, does anybody have a connection to Whistling Straits? Would love to play it if at all possible." I had actually shot some content in a previous role there, and so I just reached out to him and said, "Hey, I'll give it a shot. Let me see if I can help you out." And was able to get him on there, he and his wife and a couple people. And so that kind of started a relationship. And through his travels of being in the RV across the country, we just struck up conversations that became pretty consistent. And I knew we had a common faith and a common appreciation for the game, and something that we felt like was maybe a white space. We weren't really sure. It was just kind of conversations in a vacuum, if you will. But that evolved into us including Dave into some of those conversations and started to snowball into a smaller group of virtual calls similar to this. And we just felt like, I think guys are always willing to use the game to step away for, 4 or 5 hours just to enjoy it. So many guys, appreciate just playing the game and being out there. But we wanted to be intentional for it to create stronger relationships and ultimately, based on that common faith, if at all possible, introduce people to a relationship with Jesus. And that's, what we believe, and we feel like through having a relationship with God, it also hopefully permeates other relationships. And again, we weren't sure exactly where that would go, but the response we saw from other men just enjoying the game, saying like, "Hey, I'd like to be a part of that type of community too," kind of took off. We did a early what we called a Builders Cup weekend in Pinehurst, North Carolina. Stayed in a renovated Airbnb old church, literally half a mile from Pinehurst Resort. So it felt like kind of the perfect backdrop and setting to start to have those conversations, and has really just kind of evolved from there. We've tried to be consistent. It's not any of our full-time jobs, so maybe haven't put in as much effort as we would like to, but we continue to see amazing responses and amazing people that otherwise we probably wouldn't have contact with. We do have a Discord platform. I think what excites us the most is seeing guys in quote unquote chapters in different regional areas across the country find each other via our platform and saying, "Hey, let's go play together." Some guys we've never even met before. So that's really exciting. And then, Jeff does an amazing job too when he's on the road of creating meetups and getting guys together playing the game. So hoping to continue that. We've got a podcast as well. So trying to have, just like yourselves, consistent conversations with really unique people in the game.
yeah, it's fun. Like people talk about the common bond, and we say this all the time. The golf is people, right? So the relationship that you can build around a common interest in golf, but just how much stronger that is in the common bonds of Jesus, right? Those when you find a group of believers or people that love the Lord, and just the interaction that you get there, there's a more intimate fellowship there than even with golf, which is something pretty special in itself. So, like you said, the combination or the initial interest with you, like with Jeff, the common golf and in your faith brought you guys together, and that's what you guys are using for these events with Restoration Club. It's been fun to watch and see it grow, and I think everybody definitely needs to check it out. It'd be fun to see how you guys keep growing it.
No, likewise. I think it's been fun to see even us create some merchandise where people have bought in and have said, "Hey, I want to wear that or represent that," and kind of hear conversations that come from that. So, like I said, it's fun to see other people represent it and kind of take it on and create their own communities through it.
Did you go up to the Gamble Sands area where Jeff was recently?
I did not, and I have not. It's definitely on the list. I would love to do so.
Okay. Man, I thought as one of the co-founders, aren't you supposed to, the benefits you get to go to all these things?
I need to raise my hand to get out to everything. You're exactly right.
Seriously. Well, yeah, Dave Mason, I knew him briefly. I knew his brother, Lauren, better. He was a few years older than me at Carolina, South Carolina, for those listening and confused. But yeah, so known him for a little while, and it's been fun to catch up with him recently. But like you said, Restoration Club's not your full time gig. You have this other thing called Oak Stump Strategy. And I'd love to hear what led to the start of that, how you got into that, and then we'll talk some about the projects that you've been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take a couple steps back. So originally, gosh, dating myself a little bit. This was probably back in like 2009, 2010. Was a part of a digital marketing agency just outside of DC. Was in the sports entertainment practice. So got to work on things like the NFL Players Association during the 2010 NFL lockout. What was the BCS before the college football playoff, which was always interesting, but also got to work on stuff like Golf Channel. It's still surreal to look back and know that I actually live tweeted in its infancy on Twitter the Masters via the Golf Channel account, and got
Wow.
to interact with some really fun people through that. And then found an opportunity to join an even bigger sports marketing agency. We had a branch office here in Charlotte. We had a sister agency in New York. About a year into that, had no idea it was coming. We got acquired by a group that some people may know called IMG. And then a year after that, got acquired again by WME, William Morris Endeavor. So we had the sports, we had the Hollywood, we had kind of everything in that category. But I was specifically on the brand side, servicing a lot of different organizations that had touch points to the sports entertainment space. And I was there for the better part of almost 12 years. Kind of grew through that, and by the end of it, felt like I became "quote unquote" the default golf guy, if you will. So got to work on things like Dick's Sporting Goods and Golf Galaxy, and some of their private label brands like Top Flight and Maxfly and Walter Hagen Apparel. And then if things came across the desk, just to put my POV on it, worked with teams that service Travis Mathew and Flag and Anthem in the apparel space, and supported USGA and some other entities in the golf lane. So I knew I always had kind of that passion point, and if I could mix it vocationally, would definitely jump at it. And in the spring of 23, unfortunately, was let go as a part of a restructure. So luckily, I didn't have to jump too quickly. I had a little bit of time to kind of figure out what I wanted to do next, entertain some things, and always in the back of my head wondered, do I have the network? Do I have the skill set to start something on my own? So yeah, in August of 23, started what is Oak Stump Strategy, and it's really funny enough. There's a couple biblical references as to why I named it that, but from the corporate perspective, it's really about helping brands, organizations, locations, talent, kind of boil their story back down to the foundation of what made them great. I feel like a lot of people, as they grow, kind of lose that story along the way. So it's kind of reinvigorating, what was their why, and then helping them build and grow consistent from that. And as you've probably seen, I'm not golf exclusive, but based on network and experience, it tends to lend itself to that category. It feels like a lot of the time. And I was just having this conversation with someone in the industry this past week that I've come to realize any day that I start on a golf course or at a tournament or in that vicinity, whether it's vocational or just going and enjoying the game, I feel like is a good day. So I
It
don't,
is a
I don't
good
mind
day.
starting anything there.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a good day. I was telling somebody the other day, like some of my in previous sales lives, like I remember some big deals actually happening on the golf courses. You get a phone call or an email, it's like, oh, look, that closed. So always associated with golf, besides just being out there, with it being a good day. But so I like how you said you take brands or companies and you look back at their origins, their beginnings, and you know, I guess let's talk about anything but little. Landman is a personal favorite of mine. I've gotten to go there a few times. We know a lot of mutual folks that have a lot to do with that. Um, but you kind of go and you talk with Will Anderson, kind of get the origin story of Landman. How did that project come about? Like, did you know him prior to, or was it just, hey, let's make connections and we'll figure it out?
No, that's a great question. I know it's near and dear to you guys, and certainly is to me. I think anybody that visits there could say the same thing, and we could probably talk the next couple hours on just that. But
Yeah.
no, it was actually, of course, as is the through line. Jeff Marsh introduced me to a guy named Jeff Birch, you may or may not know, that has close connections there. I had the opportunity to go and play it, I guess, early summer, right after they opened in 23. And so I had a connection to Will. And then it was the following spring. Dave Baisden and myself had just talked about, there are ways for us to kind of collaborate and see how we can tell more stories in the game. And I just thought, man, that could be such an amazing venue to kind of peel the onion back and tell the full story if we could have that opportunity. So approached Will and just asked him if he had ever thought about telling the full origin story. And I guess some other people had maybe come in and attempted it, and it just hadn't happened yet. And so it was kind of right place, right time. But honestly, we had gone in from just the mindset of how do we tell the story of how this unbelievable piece of property got built into a golf course. And as you probably saw from the film, once we got in, we realized, oh, there's even greater story here of he, his dad, and some family friends petitioning the local school board to start the first high school golf team. Of course, for anybody that doesn't know exactly where this is, it's not even from what I've been able to research considered a city or a town. It's literally called a village because it's less than 600 people, and it's just a very small, unbelievable town. You almost feel like you're not on the same planet when you're out there because you can just turn everything off and appreciate it for what it is. But yeah, that's how it came to be.
Very nice. Yeah, Homer, Nebraska. Like when I've told people like I've gone to Nebraska, like one, why Nebraska? But two, like even smaller piece of that. So no, it is an incredible story, and I appreciate what you did. Yeah, Jeff Birch, good friend, and you worked with Jason Yankee on that project as well, and others. But just the story of Will and his dad and the family, and just everything that went into that, and King Collins, the design, just all of it that went into making now this must play like bucket list course that everybody wants to go see. It's very well done. And I'm appreciative of you, even though this is the first time we're meeting, for doing that, because now I can say when people say, why are you doing there again? Watch this, like watch this film, and you will see exactly why I love that place. So well done on that. And I saw, and we just kind of shared at least the trailer of it, but you've got another film, Keep Showing Up. Tell everybody a little bit about that. That's coming out early in 2026, correct?
It is. It is. Yeah, so I had struck up a relationship with Jake, and yeah, like you said, if people don't know his story, definitely watch the trailer and definitely follow along. Appreciate you guys just getting the word out there and sharing it with your respective community. Of course, a tough story to capture, but was asked to be involved via Matt Golden, who's the director, and really putting it together. Super talented guy. Um, and I think it's one of those things where you always know there's a story to be told and you got to capture it well, but to then see the product after the fact of the story kind of coming to life is what really excites me. And I was kind of asked to be involved just to be a fresh set of eyes, both on the content and then also the relationships involved, where we're super thankful that No Laying Up, knowing that they kind of have that built-in platform and have had a great relationship with Jake and a respective community around him in Ohio tied to those guys, as well as Imperial Headwear and Stone Creek Coffee. Others just trying to get involved to get the word out, and then also kind of support Jake as he's navigating colon cancer and all that entails in terms of treatment and, of course, expenses. So we wanted to, do right by him and capture his story, and love the fact that he's using the game to create community around himself. Also to kind of, take his mind off of everything that he's dealing with on the day to day. And then, of course, as you probably heard, amazing voice as a musician too. Matt and I joke around. I don't think you could have written a better soundtrack to put on top of the trailer, knowing it's him singing.
Yeah. No, it's good. And I guess my question is then, like, taking the two the two examples we just talked about, Landman, and then this tough story with Jake. Like, how do you, as kind of a producer, balance the let me show off something that's really cool and people should desire versus also showing off something beautiful in a person that's struggling through this? And again, it's all centered around golf, right? So how do you handle that?
Yeah, I think you said it at the top, even tied to the game of golf. I always say to people, especially in the corporate space, like people buy people, they don't just buy products. And so I just have a genuine heart to tell great stories. And as we both know, it is flooded in the golf space, where I hope I get to continue to do so around the game for a long time, if at all possible. But yeah, I think coming from, I guess, what would people would say the big agency space, I don't only want to narrow it down to the granular details of interviewing people and kind of pulling the story out. I also see it from the 30,000 foot view, similar to Landman, where, it is the process of pitching the concept, capturing it, post production, distribution, kind of all of the above. I always joke with people, maybe at some point I'll add the creative skill set to be behind the camera. But that's where I have to be strategic and know there's enough people in the game that are really dialed in and have that skill set, where hopefully I can kind of bring them in and collaborate alongside them and allow them to showcase their talents, where I can kind of be the operational mindset of how does all this get pieced together.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that, and I wrote it down because, I'm going through your Instagram and through Oak Stump's Instagram and everything, and I see a quote that you put: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So I think even in just these two examples, you've surrounded yourself with people that are really good at what they're really good at. And together you've built, well, in these two examples, two incredible films that people can enjoy and get behind. So how you kind of pursued the Landman angle, and the story of Jake came to you guys. How are you going after projects now? Like, are people knocking on the door, like lining up to say, "Hey, will you make a story about this?" Or are you still kind of out looking for the next story?
It's kind of all of the above. I would say it's both and, not either or, in that I'm always kind of proactively sourcing opportunities and finding other ways to tell stories in the game. Some have come to me based on the Landman production. I think it's also the mentality that people may not always know exactly what goes into a production like that. So I think that's the benefit of understanding. We could probably put a team together that could do a 2 minute video if you really wanted to encapsulate your location or your story in some way, and we could do that at a lower price point. Obviously, something that is of that production level, both in terms of equipment and post production and where we want to see it go, is on a different level. And so I think it's just navigating that balance of, do people understand and have the means to tell their story on that level, or do we need to kind of piece it down to something a little more pared down that still helps them accomplish, telling their why in some way.
Yeah. Do you find that, and you talk about people that want to do kind of the short stuff, do you find, and I think I've seen Kyle Walton talk about this, people that want content versus maybe an actual full story?
I think the answer,
Because there's a big difference, right? And you
yeah,
being a branding expert, like, know this.
I think the answer there again is yes. And I think it depends on whether it's a brand or an athlete or a location. What is kind of the longevity? Are they playing the long game, or are they trying to capitalize on the short term of, hey, I just need to get something out now, which is fine, but then what does that build towards? What is the consistency, or how do you maintain that storyline? You can't throw the same thing at people over and over. You have to find ways to evolve it. So again, I think that's where I enjoy the strategy of looking at it from a wider view of, how do we come back to this, but how do we tell it in a different way? Or do we have the means? Do we have the opportunity to tell a much broader story and bring in more people to execute it?
Yeah. Um, what are some of the challenges, I guess? Now, you've come out of working for massive agencies and you have your own now. So, what are some of the challenges over these last couple of years that, because so far from the outside, it looks like, man, success, you're hitting home run after home run. So, but I know in business that doesn't always work that way. So, what are you working through? What are you learning as you continue to grow this?
Such a good question. I would say it's literally everything. I think I'm transferring over a pretty broad skill set, where I could be dangerous across a number of things based on having those opportunities and working with Fortune 500, Fortune 100 brands. But that's not a lot of people's reality. And I respect and appreciate that a lot of people in the space probably still have this mindset of, oh, I've got to work with the top 10, top 20 companies out there to legitimize what I'm doing. My hope is that people will see people like myself that have the experience in those spaces can still execute at a high level without, all of the resources or all of the needs that go along with maybe the margins or things that you have to account for in working with a much bigger shop. But no, I mean, when you're in that space, you've got a team built out, you've got people in place, you've got people to delegate to, and your lane is your lane. You're expected to execute, but I think now it's just embracing. You're literally wearing all the hats. I was telling somebody the other day, as you're sourcing new opportunities, you get into the weeds of making that happen and having a lot of conversations, and then every once in a while, you're like, oh, now I got to go do the work, not just source it. So again, it's that fine balance of just navigating what that looks like. I've always prided myself on networking and appreciating meeting people and finding out who they are, what they do. My hope is that I haven't burnt any bridges anywhere, so that we know the golf world gets smaller every day, and a lot of things come full circle, even if they're not short-term opportunities.
Yeah, we talk about all the time the people, and we've only been doing this for a couple years now, and the people that our network has expanded. Talk about Jeff Birch, one of those people, and the kind of the spider web of connections through somebody like him, which I know you've seen as well. And it is a great little community, and the opportunities that come up because of, I guess, just doing the right thing. And like you said, telling a story. And that's what we're all about. Like, we love good stories. We love people that are building stuff like yourself, and just learning more and more about what you do. I guess from a branding strategy perspective, like what is something that most brands and companies are doing well, and what's something that they should work on as they try to tell their story? Because it seems like there's so many people that are trying to do what you do, but do it on the cheap, or do it, I don't know, in all different kind of ways. But well, what are you seeing that is working well, and what needs to be improved?
I would almost say at the bottom line, brands and people need to hear the people following them more than they want to put something in front of them. I think there are a lot of brands and organizations that are still trying to sell something without knowing if it's hitting or resonating with the people that they're trying to reach. I'm always someone that's going to navigate the space and pull pieces as inspiration for how people do things well. But I think if you're not creating your own lane or carving out your own story, you're just going to replicate somebody else, and then you're not going to stand alone. You're not going to be set apart from the larger group. So I think it is navigating, how do I make myself stand out and kind of be my own. I think at the end of the day, you can't be afraid to put yourself out there in terms of representing your people and showcasing what your process looks like, or who your people are that make the brand great. And of course, that's in specifically the lane of selling things. I think a lot of people just continue to put product in front of people, or, hey, this is what we sell, this is why you need it. Like I said before, people buy people. And so I think if you can put personality, and like you said, we all appreciate great storytelling. If you can start from there of, how do I tell a great story around who I am and what I do, and why I'm authentic to what I'm doing, people are going to buy that before you just tell them to buy something. And
Yeah,
as we live in,
people don't want to be sold, right?
no, and as we live in the space of social media, it is just like, I don't even want to say the necessary evil. It's just something that people gravitate towards and are on all the time. I think there's a fine balance of, how do you develop creative that, as we say, stop people in the scroll. And a lot of brands continue to, use template models of what feels like flyers that could be on a bulletin board in a space that is so visual, and are afraid to kind of lean into the video portion or actually telling the story, and hope they continue to do it and hoping that it works, and it just doesn't. So my hope is I can come alongside some of those people and help them see it differently.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people should jump on what y'all are doing, what you are doing, because it is, like you said, visually appealing, and people want to stop and watch, and then go on to watch a full film, right? So you're doing it well. What's next? What projects are you working on now?
Yeah, so somewhat through the Landman opportunity, was able to now work with Charlotte Country Club, which happens to be the oldest country club here in Charlotte. I was able to bring back on Jason Yankee as another collaboration piece. Have a couple other guys involved here in Charlotte, which is a lot of fun. That also have worked in the golf space quite a bit to tell their restoration story. They're in the midst of an undertaking that'll be quite a while to restore their course back to the original Donald Ross design from the early 1900s, in preparation for some big tournaments they'll be hosting down the line. So hoping to again do right by them and appreciate the opportunity. Always grateful to come alongside groups like that and tell the story. I know some people there that are friendly and familiar with Rob Collins and his group. So hopefully that kind of gave us a nod of approval based on the work we did out in Nebraska.
Very nice. Is there like a bucket list project, like something out there that you would love to tell the story of?
That's a tough question. I mean, I'd be wrong to say if there was an opportunity to do something around Augusta,
Hmm.
it'd be tough to pass down something like that. But no, I don't know if I've necessarily laid out kind of a top three or a top five. I should probably do that.
Yeah, well, like you said, you keep doing it, and you'll be in the right space, and you'll find the right people that might put you in touch with the decision makers, those that can pull something together. So, and like we were talking about, and I think you and I both say that the golf story, there's endless opportunities. People ask me like, "Who are you interviewing next?" I'm like, everybody's got a golf story, right? Like somebody's either had a hole in one, played for the first time, or doing something really cool in the game. And everybody has a story and they love sharing that. So I really appreciate what you are doing in that. Do you have time to play with all that you have going on?
Not as much as I would like, that's for sure. A lot of
That's
people think
everybody's
that.
answer. Yeah.
They think, oh, well, I think the joke is anybody that works in the golf space plays less and less because they're working around the game. And I'm
Yep.
a dad of three boys, so I like to say my foursome is complete. So hopefully, down the line we'll have plenty of rounds together, and have always enjoyed that with my dad and my brother. But certainly not as much as I would like. I feel like it comes in spurts if I'm strategic enough. In the summertime, I'll string together a number of rounds, but otherwise, I don't get to swing it as much as I would like.
Well, I mean, places like Landman and then Charlotte Country Club. I mean, hopefully you had to get some on-site knowledge before actually telling a really good story.
There was a necessary scout option, scouting the property where we wanted to make sure we played the course so we could see all the sight lines.
Yeah, and y'all went over to Old Dane too, as well, right?
We
When
did,
you were
yeah, and can't wait to get back to that area when they complete that. So yeah, even I was there just about a month ago, and driving past the
okay.
property, had seen it completely torn up, and couldn't believe it based on seeing the 9 hole last year, and really excited about what they're going to put together for that 12 hole.
Yeah, I'm excited. We actually played it the last day they were open. And the greens, they hadn't I think watered them in a while just because they're about to dig it up the next day. So quite an experience. But yeah, excited what Trev Dormer and the crew are doing there. So well, let's as we start to wrap up. I know your time. You got a lot going on. We ask everybody, what is the story of your most memorable golf shot?
It's tough to say. I might have
Good
to pull.
golfers, good golfers have a hard time coming up with the most memorable one.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I had more time, I could probably pull together a handful, but I'll pull from maybe a more recent one. I had the opportunity with Jeff Marsh, a number of guys involved with the Restoration Club, the week of the U.S. Open at Pinehurst a couple of years ago. Pinehurst number 10 had just opened, and might honestly be one of my most favorite routings I've ever played, and really hope I get to get back there soon and play it. But we played a twilight round. We played as an eightsome, walking the course together. It was super hot out, but with the sun setting, it was just unbelievable. And if you haven't seen it yet, hole 17 is a short par three over water, and stuck a shot and dropped the birdie putt as the sprinklers came on with the sun setting down. So it was pretty picturesque. It's hard to get that one out of the mind.
I love it. I remember seeing one of you guys post pictures of that because I knew a number of y'all in that group that were playing, and it made me very jealous. But yeah, we did get a chance to play it this summer. Also, a very, very hot day. But no, that's really cool. And again, it goes to show it's all about who you're playing with, right?
Absolutely.
The routing is good, the course is amazing, but you'll never forget walking with those 8 guys or 7 other guys. So
You're exactly right.
yep. All right, we do this thing quick 9, so you can expand on some of these, and we might have already heard some of them. Favorite course that you've ever played?
Harbortown?
Okay, I haven't yet to play that one. I need to get down. All right, bucket list course.
Ooh, Augusta National.
No. Best course that no one knows about.
The Sterling Park Golf Swim and Tennis Club Par 3 in Sterling, Virginia.
Very nice. Have to look that one up. Dream foursome. You already mentioned your 3 boys. I don't know if that, or you want to pick a second dream foursome.
Gosh, that would be a solid foursome. Yeah, it's hard to beat that. Would have to include my dad, Payne Stewart.
Yeah.
Maybe Tiger, Arnie, and I'll throw Scotty Scheffler in there.
I love it. That's a good group. All right, your walk-up song to the first tee.
That's a tough call. I feel like I've been asked that before, and it's hard to peg just one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you like? So we had this conversation with the Langford brothers, and they had said, I don't want something too hard because I don't want to be like
Adrenaline
overly
pumping?
amped. Yeah, but they wanted something kind of relaxed and
I was gonna say,
kind of make.
yeah. Do you go lo-fi or what sets the tone? I will
Yeah.
say this. I actually am gonna have the opportunity in the next couple weeks to catch their first show ever in North Carolina. If you're not familiar with them, the Teskey brothers.
Yeah.
They're playing here in Charlotte, and I'm gonna catch them, and that might be a good pick.
That would be a good pick. All right, favorite club in the bag.
I will say the 3-iron.
Ooh, man,
It's
got a good golfer
it's
here.
been trusty off the tee these days when you don't know where the driver's going.
Okay, I got it. Favorite snack on the course.
If it's not the hot dog at the turn, it's probably just a protein bar.
Okay. What is your favorite golf course logo?
Oh gosh. That might take a while. I had this conversation with someone not too long ago. I feel like I appreciate the Oakmonts of the world, and just that classic throwback feel. But I also kind of like the maybe more of the 60s, 70s era of Riviera. It's pretty good.
Okay, very nice. All right, final question. It's a finish this sentence. The best part of golf is,
The people.
yeah, people. Well, Danny, this has been a lot of fun. Tell everybody where they can find what you are doing.
Yeah, I think the easiest spot is either oakstumpstrategy.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Oak Stump Strategy. Restoration Club is restoration_club. And then I am at Danny CLT.
Very nice. Well, again, everybody needs to go check out Anything But Little, the story of Landmand Golf Club. Keep showing up. It's coming out soon. And then the story about the Charlotte Country Club and all the other things that you have going on. So, Danny, I appreciate it, man. This has been a lot of fun to hear more about your story, what you're doing, and excited to see what's next.
Likewise. And not in the golf space. I've said on the bucket list ever since I moved here has been coming down to catch a game at Carolina. So hopefully I can put that on the list too.
Come on down. We'll make it happen.
Love it.
All right, man. Well, for Danny, this is Robbie. You guys have been listening to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast.